Welcome to Mueller time.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I want to say first to everybody out there, and you, of course, as well, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, is it that week already?
Well, yeah. And
Okay.
when they hear this, well, it'll be before Thanksgiving, but the next show is after.
Yeah, this is Thanksgiving week for us. So, yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody that listens to Mueller Time Podcast.
And I'd also like to, I forget if I mentioned this to you, but I sent Mueller time to the special counsel.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you did mention that.
The special counsel has a public email, and, you know, I know no one's going to probably read it, but what the heck, right?
It has to end up on a record somewhere.
Well, you know,
Email to 'em.
and let me backtrack. I know people read it because the reason I knew about the email was from a news story where a citizen who knew something contacted them, and they do read those.
Okay.
So I just said, hey, you know, I actually spent a fair amount of time writing it, but I said, we appreciate you. What were you going to say?
No, well, you didn't ask them to listen, I hope.
No, I just said, this is what we do. And
Okay.
you're, I just said, you know, we appreciate what you do. And
Okay. Yeah.
and then I definitely said at the end, if you ever have, you know, if you ever want something to do, just listen
they
to
can't
it.
waste their time talking to us.
No, they're not going to appear on the show. Well, maybe later, but you know what I mean.
Well, when they all have books to sell, when it's all said and done, then they can come talk to us.
Well, yeah, let's be honest. The last thing you'd want to do after working 15-hour days is listen on the investigation, is listen to Mueller time and be like, what the fuck? But yeah, so I'd like to wish a happy Thanksgiving to Mr. Mueller as well and his team. I'm sure they get no time to themselves.
Well, you know what? They're going to have a lot of time to themselves after they get the job done.
Yeah, my friend who's our legal advisor, who's a prosecutor, said he can't imagine the stress on the family. Mm-hmm. And he's got a fairly high-profile job.
Okay, so on was it Veterans Day last week? The story that went around was that 8 members of Mueller's team worked. How many of them are going to work on Thanksgiving?
I'm going to venture to say that almost every one of them. Okay. I mean, I'm sure they'll get a couple hours with the family, but this is like, it ain't like we ain't working at Subway.
No,
there's literally every second you take off is a second that this, you know, the country's at risk.
Yeah.
But Thanksgiving, it's such an American holiday. I'm sure Mueller gives them at least 30-minute lunch.
Okay, good.
like you work at Subway. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any plans for the holiday?
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Hey, I want to thank all our new listeners. Plays are going way up.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that's been putting us in the top 20 of the iTunes podcast chart.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, and I'd like to thank Player FM, which is an app that featured us this week. So we're featured in the Progressive Talk.
Oh, right on. Progressive Talk?
I know you thought it was going to be in the conservative radio.
Well, no, I like in the iTunes chart how we'll be above Bill O'Reilly or Dan Bongino.
Yeah.
Bongino. So in this other one, they separate the left from the right, the progressives from the conservatives.
Well, what I did was I was up late one night, as always, and I just, on Twitter, I contacted every podcast app that I see in our analytics because I don't know all these apps. Every single one, and I said, would you consider featuring us? And Player FM was the only one that wrote back. And
all right.
Actually, one other one called something else that I'm not going to plug said that everything is an algorithm, so they can't.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's your...
No human control.
I got to say, like, if anyone's listening who is an app developer, that's a huge mistake. Yeah. And I'm not saying that just because we want to be, like, featured everywhere. Letting a computer control your content?
Yeah.
Bad mistake.
Yeah, don't you watch movies? Come on. You know that.
Right.
Didn't the voice of Hal just die about a week ago?
I heard that, yeah. Well, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but that was...
I don't, but that just happened.
Wow, what a great movie and a huge warning sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay, I have to actually acknowledge someone on Twitter before we move any further.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, we have people listening, and I find out the hard way by getting on Twitter. We mention Seth Abramson all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, he has his book out, and I completely misrepresented his book, and I got called out for it on Twitter, and I kind of appreciate that.
Well, I remember your comment, and I saw that comment, but unless I'm wrong, I don't remember you...
No, I remember why. And here, let me read. I'll totally cop to
Please
it.
Please do.
So Twitterer Daniel Edbo called out my inaccurate description of Seth Abramson's book, Proof of Collusion, How Trump Betrayed America. His tweet, I'm going to read his tweet verbatim. Mm-hmm. And he was writing this in reply to a Seth Abramson tweet where he did an AMA on Twitter about his new book. Mm-hmm. So Twitterer Daniel Edbo says, FYI, the Mueller Time podcast promoted POC on their last show, but in my or IMHO, misrepresented it as a straightforward reproduction of your megathreads. They seemed unaware of the narrative scope of it and that it synthesizes a lot of independent sources. Love proof of collusion. Okay, you know what? He's absolutely right. I did misrepresent it as just his tweets in book form. I got that from the initial announcement of his book deal, and that's what everybody on Twitter said. Oh yeah, well they gave him a book deal just because they're going to reproduce his tweets. So he was absolutely right to call me out, and I'm really looking forward to reading Seth Abramson's book, Proof of Collusion.
Exactly, and
so thank you.
That was more than that was. I mean, to me, what was the funniest thing about that conversation was that I honestly did think it was going to be just a mega thread, and I'm the one who was goofing on him because you know me, I always kind of goof on Seth Abramson. It's out of love.
Yeah.
Look, all I need to know about Seth Abramson is that Malcolm Nance told us he was legit.
Yeah. No, when
that's it.
Twittergate Russiagate all exploded in 2017 on Twitter. Seth Abramson was one of a crowd, and everyone else in that crowd is a nut job. We're not even going to say their names.
Right.
But yeah, when at Politicon 2017, we had the opportunity. We asked Malcolm Nance point blank, and he said Seth Abramson is cool.
Right. Chris ran down when we were talking to Malcolm Nance. He just kind of went through this list, and I just stood there, and Malcolm was like, cool, not cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, now we know.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few people whose word I would take just that something was legit or somebody, but absolutely. So we'll check out that book.
So yeah, I'm looking forward now to reading Seth Abramson's Proof of Collusion, How Trump Betrayed America.
Awesome. Yeah, no, me too.
All right. I got that out of the way. Thank you.
Nice. So after 2 years, Trump has finally answered the questions of Mueller.
Oh, his take-home exam.
2 years.
It took him 2 years to complete the take-home exam.
To me, I know it wasn't exactly 2 years, but you get the point. It's the funniest thing ever.
Okay, so he's supposed to turn it in before Thanksgiving, before
Right.
Thursday. And now was I hearing that he refused to answer any of the questions that have to do with obstruction of justice?
Right.
So he didn't actually complete the take-home exam.
No. Let's be honest. This whole thing is Mueller doesn't need these questions. This whole thing is a farce.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's. I guess it's just about doing the show that you did something or whatever, maybe for his base. But yeah, come on. It's not.
I can't wait to see how this one plays out.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a perjury. All the questions are perjury traps.
Right. Right.
That's a thing.
Right. 2 years, and he finally answers like 5 questions. I look forward to finding out what they are.
But he made a point to say he wrote it all by himself. He completely was at the Chris Wallace interview.
Yes.
He completely sounded like a child saying, "No, I drew that painting, or I did the coloring all by myself," when it was really your daddy that made sure you stayed within the lines.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he sounded like a petulant child. It was sad.
I turned on Chris Wallace because I didn't know that was going to happen. That was on what, Sunday?
Yeah,
And-
yesterday. Well, no, yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, Chris Wallace is interviewing, you know who. So I pulled it up. I don't like Fox News, like, of course, because...
Well, you don't have to have watched Fox News. The clips, at least the
Right.
highlights, got on every single news outlet.
I ended up actually watching it long form, which I almost never do. And I'll say, like, Chris Wallace did, he did as good a job as I think you could do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he works for a propaganda network. I don't think he's an innocent...
Well, he's not as terrible as Judge Jeanine or Hannity.
No, he pushed back. But the absolutely thing that, again, you shake your head at was the thing about McRaven, the commander of the Bin Laden raid.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
His crime is being a Hillary and Obama supporter. Doesn't matter that he is an American military hero that helped take down one of the single greatest foe of America in our lifetimes.
I hate to, you know me, I told you this before, I never do this, but I have to do it again. Imagine Obama.
Yeah.
No, he would have been not only impeached, he would have been thrown in jail.
Yeah.
If he said something like that.
Yeah.
That's how he mocked the guy who led the Bin Laden raid.
Yeah. He didn't do it quick enough. It should have happened sooner. That was the only thing Trump had to say in his defense. It should have happened sooner, as if it was that guy's fault.
It was, yeah, all because McRaven has been outspoken.
Yes.
No, you got it. Yeah, all because he's been outspoken saying that attacking the free press is the great. I think he said something to the effect of, it's the greatest threat in my lifetime to this country. So, look, first of all, the guy already had ensured his place in history and patriotism by getting Bin Laden. But on top of that, like, now I really love him.
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, pretty sad, the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the hits just keep on coming. You know, we're out here in California, so like I actually avoided TV the day that he was out here. He was up in Northern at Paradise.
That now. Oh, no. What do you know what he did up there?
Right. So first of all, here's the best part. So first of all, he flies in on a fucking chopper. Remember when he said he couldn't fly in France?
Yeah.
So he flies in through this horrible cloud. So immediately, like, of course you were lying, because clearly your chopper pilot is probably the best in the world because he flies you around. Clearly they can fly in some bad weather, but whatever. Yeah. So then he lands. Did you see what he looked like?
Well, I'm not going to fault him for not dressing up to go into, burned out woods.
No, it's not that. It's like, well, first of all, he's repping his gear from his website.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was repping the full on, the hustle never stops. And he looked terrible. I mean, obviously, but the dude literally was like, and then he gets the name of the town wrong.
Yeah. And then he did his trademark, fake correction also.
Right.
Yeah, if you hear him, he says Pleasure, California twice. The second time, everyone around him, including Jerry Brown, all correct him. And then he said he does the thing, or Paradise. As if either name is correct. Chris Hayes on MSNBC has a long mega reel of every time Trump has done this with a teleprompter, when he gets something wrong on the teleprompter, where he says the correct word but makes it sound like both words are okay.
Right.
It's so crazy. It
really is that kid that you went to school with who was just never prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did that to some degree, but it's almost, if it wasn't so serious, it would be hilarious.
He called the town Pleasure, California.
You know what he reminds me of? This kid, I'll always remember this. This kid in my history class one time, he ditched class in high school, but he ditched class right outside the window. So he didn't show up, but he was hanging in the courtyard, and the teacher could hear his voice. So the teacher opened the window and was like, "Hey, like
not the brightest one, was it?"
No, and it didn't get much better from there. But that's like this guy.
Yeah,
it's not even the bare minimum of effort.
But then his people love it, and it only makes it better for him when he does stupid stuff like that.
Well, yeah, they I don't want to go too much into the Freud thing, but they project their own problems, and he becomes this figure where every time he's attacked, they're attacked. Yeah. It's this godlike or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So every time, they just retreat into that shell. But he really messed up with this McRaven thing.
Yeah, I really hope there's some actual blowback on that. But I think it's gonna be gone from the news by the time this podcast is available to the world
in an hour.
Yeah.
Even Robert J. O'Neill, who I don't know if you know who he is. On Twitter, he's one of the guys who was on the Bin Laden raid. He's a Navy SEAL. Right. This guy's a full-on Trump supporter, which is sad. But he was like, "Are you kidding me? Like McRaven, that's his commander."
Yeah.
And then these goofballs were like writing him like, "Well, what about this?" And like, wait, so you're a nobody, and are you attacking the guy who supposedly Robert J. O'Neill supposedly is the guy who fired the shot that killed Bin Laden? Like. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how does he get away with it? Why? Why is he allowed to trash the military? That's the one thing you can't do in this country. You can't talk trash about the military.
Yeah.
But if your name is Trump, you can. Oh, also, if your name is Trump, you can have private emails apparently, and a White House job at the same time.
Yeah. So right before the taping this show, of course, I mean, you knew this was going to happen.
Well, it already happened with Jared last year.
Right.
We found out he had a private email thing going on, and now we found out Ivanka is doing private government business on her private email account.
I was very pleased to see, though, that she was the number one trending topic because that means that people are noticing. Mm-hmm. And when that thing happened with Jared, it really was just a bubble. But she's more of a
well, this is Ivanka.
Right.
Yeah, Princess Ivanka.
One of the weirdest things is how it's not an excuse that you didn't know.
Oh, how can she not know? But that was the major talking point of every Trump rally in the fall of 2016.
I don't think
that's where do you think lock her up chance came from? Because she had a private email server.
I don't think people fully understand. There's a ProPublica article that was a while ago that I may have mentioned once. But it was about how the Trump family each kind of plays their part in these scams. And the part on Ivanka made very clear that she's a full-on member of this crime family. And she's used often in specific ways. She's really like a closer. They bring her in, probably if it's a bunch of men, and close the deal. And they were very specific. So it's a scam. The whole thing is a scam. It's the same way when they got, I don't want to jump to this yet, but when Zuckerberg is up there talking about Facebook and Sheryl Sandberg, and they have this look on their face. Oh, yeah. It's a scam. They've been doing it forever. Oh, I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah.
No, motherfucker,
So wait, do we keep our Facebook page? What's happening?
I am going to get to that.
Okay.
But we are going to get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, so Ivanka has been sending private emails for how long? It was like months, whatever. Yeah.
Butter emails. Come on.
Well, I hope she's ready for some real questioning, because that's when the Democrats take the House, she's going to be up there in public.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, she's going to have to answer to little Adam shit.
Right. Yeah. I know. It's like...
Come on. That happened this weekend, too. What the hell? What has happened to our country?
Adam Schiff is our congressman, by the way.
Hey, we get to vote for him.
Right.
Yes.
Proudly vote for him.
Proudly voted for Adam Schiff.
Right. And so Trump is freaking out because Mr. Schiff will be the head of the Intelligence Committee. It was so obvious. It's like, okay.
Well, look, if it was a mistake, Trump will delete and repost tweets with spelling errors. This was no error. That was completely deliberate. It is still standing right now.
I also found it, though, to be a little bit of an escalation, because he has a lot of nicknames for people that are all bad, but this is the first one that was profanity.
Yeah, this is the first
right?
expletive, yes.
And it felt different to me. Mm-hmm. Like I saw that, I was like, oh, that's...
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's a lot different than Crooked Hillary.
Right.
Yeah.
A normal person, which he's not, a normal person would try to... I don't know if it would matter with a guy like Adam Schiff, but you try to get in his good graces, or at least not piss him off. Mm-hmm. But no, we don't do that here.
Adam Schiff is going to be subpoenaing everything.
Yeah. Adam Schiff is a great congressman because he's not like in your face, but he's a prosecutor who knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's a lot of times not really on TV. I mean, he is on TV, but he's not like this guy who stands out. I think a lot of people probably didn't even know who he was before this, even though we did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, look, he is our local congressman, so yeah.
He's all over this. And rest assured, he will get to the bottom of a lot of this on that committee, along with every other committee. That's going to be...
what's the January, 26th? Is that the date that starts?
Yeah, something like it might be the 19th or 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be the 18th or 19th. Whatever it is, we're gonna go out to a bar. And I heard they're already teeing up the investigations.
We got the local C-SPAN bar down the street from us that we're gonna go watch. We don't have sports bars in our neighborhood. We have C-SPAN bars.
We do? Oh no, I thought we. Is that real? Or you just
we're gonna have to open one before that date.
Well, CNN is right down the street, actually.
Yes, they are.
They don't have a bar though.
They have coffee. That's way too expensive.
Oh, that coffee shop?
Yeah, I don't like that coffee place.
Yeah, that one is a little expensive. You're correct. Mm-hmm. But I like hanging out there because I'm always hoping I'll run into somebody,
Yeah, Anderson Cooper works in New York. I don't know if you're going to see him here in LA.
Yeah. So apparently, I'm sure you saw this on the DC court docket. There are about 30 sealed indictments.
Yeah, right, ready to go.
No one knows who they are, so of course we can't say. But every prosecutor interviewed said it's unusual.
Mm-hmm. I read today that Whitaker can't touch them because they're already sealed. They're already on the docket. Whitaker can't touch them.
Whitaker looks like he can't touch his own toes.
Well, Whitaker had. Did you see?
He was an athlete.
Did you see the masculine toilet?
Can you break that down for me, because I actually didn't.
Whitaker, our new our new interim AG, Attorney General,
soon to be indicted.
He worked for a company that is under the Federal Trade Commission, busted them for fraud. They have all these wacky products. All of their investors were suing them for stealing their money. One of the products was the masculine toilet, a toilet designed for men that are very well endowed.
Wait, you're serious?
Rachel Maddow reported this.
Wow.
It was reported she got it from Mother Jones.
Wow.
And the company that was busted for fraud, they also had some time travel thing and some Bigfoot thing that they were taking money from people from.
So Trump obviously would not be. Well, I don't want to get into.
Well, look, we've discussed this in the past. Trump's business is fraud.
Right.
Whitaker's business is fraud.
You're right.
So there you go. That's why he's our new interim attorney general.
I'm just saying. Also, based on what you're saying about what that product is, the type of man it's designed for, I'm guessing
Doesn't need it. Doesn't really need it.
And I don't want to go any farther, just because I don't want to. But yeah.
Oh, you have to go back and watch Rachel Maddow's report of this story because it's so funny, and she has to tiptoe around it, and she just doesn't. Yeah, we love Rachel.
Yeah. That was. I was watching that when you came in, but I didn't. I'll look it up.
Oh
later.
No, this is last Friday's episode. You're watching tonight's episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Whitaker, the scam. I mean, it's so disgusting. He took advantage of military veterans.
Yeah, Rachel discusses that in her segment last Friday as well.
So
yeah, that's who they targeted with all these terrible products.
Yeah, like you said, it's a business of fraud.
Now, isn't there a court case saying that he was unconstitutionally appointed?
Yeah. So, by the way, this is not like one of these things where it's not going to work out. This is a strong case. You don't have to be a lawyer. Mm. If I understand it, anybody.
Yeah.
Like this is it's in the Constitution. The Senate is supposed to confirm major appointments of major figures. Obviously, the Attorney General. They did not do that. No. This court, they're absolutely going to win this court case. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, they said that anybody, if this guy is in charge, any defense attorney can just say if their client goes before the Justice Department, hey, this guy's not even a legal Attorney General, so who knows who could go free because of this nonsense. But while he's in there, we don't know what he can do. I hope he understands he's bitten off more than he can chew.
Well, I was happy to hear that he can't touch these sealed indictments that are already on the docket.
Right. Mueller obviously knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And if those are his indictments, which I think they probably are, once it's filed, there ain't nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. Thank God. Nothing. So
I hope we find out what they are very soon.
Yeah. There's a strong chance that we'll be back here tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be.
Oh no! Come on, you really got my hopes up for #Felony Friday last week, and it didn't happen.
Well, I really like doing one of these a week because of the
if it all comes down tomorrow, we're recording another one.
Yeah, it's not that it's like a lot. It's not that these shows are more. It's like a lot of mental work. It's not like we're like out here with like we get in this. I have to edit for hours because we pretty much cut it as is. But just the mental thoughts. So to have to do it two days in a row.
Yeah, well, that's.
But if it goes down.
If it goes down tomorrow, yeah.
And by all accounts, I mean, look, no one knows anything, but it seems like something's going down.
Maybe that's what's going to happen this Black Friday.
Man, what do you think Thanksgiving is like at the Trump house?
The Trump house being Mar-a-Lago.
Thanksgiving is a family holiday, and they're not a family in the traditional sense because they don't care about each other.
Well, did Jarvanka go to Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving?
I honestly don't know.
What's the correct grammar on that? Does Jarvanka? Which is the correct word for if you're calling two persons one name?
Well, we're going to cut a separate show on that, and we'll cut an hour-long special about the how to pronounce that. So yeah, we'll find out what's going on with these sealed indictments. Also, Manafort and Gates' sentencing has been postponed, which leads many to believe that there's something coming, because that was supposed to happen before Thanksgiving, and then or to the effect of around then, and now they need extra time.
Yeah, are they singing like canaries? Is that why they need time?
Yeah, well, Gates definitely is. I don't know what's up with Manafort. They say he's been less than cooperative. But it's not. I mean, at a certain point.
Well, they got him.
Yeah, they got him. He doesn't want to end up with some Russians.
Mueller must have enough evidence that he doesn't need him to talk.
I can only. Sometimes I just think about imagine what he does have, and all this other stuff with the Middle East. There's connections everywhere. Speaking of which, so talk about reaching back in the past. One of Dick Cheney's aides is now in the Mueller, probably in the crosshairs. Again, it's like,
what's going on?
Exactly, right? Like, it's like when you heard about Papadopoulos and you were like, who?
Mm-hmm.
This guy's name is John Hanna, and he's part of the Middle Eastern part of this investigation with that guy George Nader. And apparently, so this John Hanna character, these guys were trying to open up with Iran. They were trying to take a hardline position. So there's a strong chance that, from what I've read, that this guy could end up being a target of Mr. Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the Daily Beast.
Okay.
So I hadn't thought about Cheney for a while.
Yeah, but now there's that movie out with Christian Bale playing him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this George Nader guy was like a shadowy figure, and this John Hanna guy and this Israeli guy whose name I'm blanking, they were working together to, when Trump came in, to put sanctions in on Iran. And you're not allowed to do that first of all, you're not allowed to do that when you're not president yet. And also there was probably money coming in from foreign governments. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Also on that tip, did you see about the Steve Bannon and Brexit?
Yeah, and Cambridge Analytica involved there, of course.
Yeah, it's looking more and more like Steve Bannon flooded the Brexit thing with foreign money, which is illegal.
Yeah, this is another story that, while we're learning the details, I'm not surprised at all one bit.
Right. Yeah. And it's appearing more and more like that was a mirror, or if you want to be conspiratorial, a trial for what happened here.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't necessarily planned. It was just they saw it worked, and they just flipped it on us. Mm-hmm. So now they're saying that Britain should have their own Mueller investigation, which is, I mean, they're not going to clone Mueller, but I'm sure they have.
Well, no, they need a special investigation.
Yeah.
Because of Brexit, yeah.
Yeah, because this guy, Aaron Banks, who I guess was the primary independent backer, this guy's in league with Russia. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And this Nigel Farage character, same thing.
Now, yeah, who's going to bust him in this situation then? How does that work in England? How do you get a special counsel investigation in England? How does their parliamentary tricks work for that?
This Brexit is a disaster. Mm-hmm. Now even, I mean, I'm sure you saw John Oliver.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. No.
Oh, no?
Dish Network and HBO are in a feud, and I am a Dish Network subscriber. HBO is not on Dish right now. It hasn't been for 3 weeks.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. They just took it off. Yeah. You don't want to know why? It's because HBO, owned by Time Warner, got sold to AT&T, who owns DirecTV, which is Dish Network's main competition. And so that's a little bit too much of a monopoly, where the actual satellite provider owns the network.
I think you should email the special counsel and specialcounsel@.gov.
All right, so I have not seen HBO in 3 weeks. No John Oliver, no Bill Maher for me for the last 3 weeks.
Can you imagine though the kind of like wacko emails they get? Like they probably wouldn't even blink. Like whatever, just another track.
Like 10 years ago, I got really upset when Dish Network got into a fight with when Time Warner got into a fight with HDNet, which is owned by what's his name, Dallas Mavericks owner.
Oh, yeah, Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Yeah. And so I wrote Mark Cuban a letter saying, what the hell? I'm going to switch to Dish Network. How's your carriage deal with Dish Network? And he wrote me back. And then it got published in a satellite TV news blog.
You got a letter back from Mark Cuban?
Yes.
I'll
find it, and yes, I'll dig it up and send it to you.
Can we get this podcast to Mark Cuban? That's my question.
I still have that email address, so maybe we can.
I don't know exactly what...
This was in like 2008 or 2009 that this went down.
I think any billionaire could really be an asset to this.
Yeah. Even if he just wants to sponsor us for something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good to know a lot of rich people. Not fake rich like the person in the White House who's not a billionaire, but Mark Cuban is an actual billionaire.
He is, yes.
A for realsy.
Well, I found his for realsy email, and he wrote me back.
Look, they say that's true of people who are highly successful. Mm-hmm. He took that seriously.
He did.
And because he was involved in that, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, it was just because he owns HDNet, which is I think is now Access TV, and they got into a feud with Time Warner, who I was a subscriber from at the time, and I'm like, Mark Cuban, what the hell? I like your channel, and how do I get it? And he confirmed that they're all good with Dish Network, so I switched to Dish Network 10 years ago. So
this Brexit thing, which is
to Brexit,
from John Oliver, it's such a disaster that even the people who proposed it are now running. That didn't even happen here. Mm-hmm. They're running away from it. They're like, no, like we've seen in this country, the Trump people have largely stuck with him, or at least But over there,
Is that just differences between just being an American and being in England? Is that just cultural differences? Where an American, no matter how wrong you learn you are, you're going to stand behind your original decision?
well,
Stupid stubbornness.
I don't know. I mean, Pink Floyd did say, was that hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way.
Which song is that? You're stumping me.
It was in Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
But whatever, the point being, they have their own whack jobs there, but I think they have way less. That's just been my impression. And also their whack jobs don't have that religious thing going on as much. I was thinking about that's a distinctly American thing, which is one of the things I admire about Europe. They just don't have that thing, but obviously they have their own crazy people. So hey man, let's do that let's do Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. So Facebook, I mean, you read the article.
Yeah. Facebook is as evil as more evil than you ever believed.
The New York Times drops yet another amazing article, which is why I'm a subscriber, and I'll remain a subscriber. Just a huge one about how Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg knew that Russians were meddling.
They were lying to you. When they were asked about it in 2016, when it was going on, when it was all going down, Zuckerberg denied. He denied, and now the New York Times has shown that he was lying.
Right. Their security chief, the article didn't really explain how it came to their attention, but their security chief was told them what was going on, and they just, like most corporations, they just tried to bury it. Silicon Valley needs to be regulated. This is like why government exists. You could put this in a textbook if you're teaching kids someday about why you need government. Private companies were given a chance to do the right thing, and he didn't just fail once.
No.
They're just continually failing.
Yeah.
They're clearly not willing to do it, so it needs to be regulated. And that's what I was telling you when we were joking. When I read that Facebook hired a private firm to basically run interference, and one of the things the firm did was throw out the George Soros, an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
Yeah, no, Facebook went after the critics of this story, of the criticisms that they had for letting Russia run rampant in their fake news and just getting all their data. So the critics of that, Facebook hired a publicity firm that basically smeared them.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they did. They went out and smeared their critics.
Mark Zuckerberg.
With anti-Semitism.
He's Jewish. I mean, I'm Jewish. That's why, when I see this, I just shake my head. I can't believe it.
Yeah, but now, can you boycott Facebook? I don't think it's possible.
Well, that's what I was telling you. As silly as it sounds about a moral dilemma, I saw that and I was like, I can't be on a website that pushed the George, but
look, there's nowhere else to go.
Well, the Mueller Time Facebook page is very important. That's our biggest social media. That's the way we interact with people. We can't give that up. It's not.
Oh, look, we can. I mean, there are other social networks to go to,
right?
But
Facebook.
What can you do?
Right. It's a very powerful tool when used correctly.
Now, if let's say I wanted to be hardcore about this and say, screw that. Let's take the hit and go. I can't. If I have a regular job that I don't discuss on here, I need Facebook for that job, which means I need my personal page, and I need my personal page to have access to my day job page.
Right.
And yeah, we're stuck with it.
And I need to know how much better looking and successful I am than my high school classmates. Yes. No, but it just makes me laugh. No, so
yeah, Facebook is they're too big now. They're too big.
I weigh almost the same thing I did in high school. So of course, Facebook, it's all about the ego.
Dude, I weighed less than I weighed in high school,
so
I know what you mean.
There you go. There you go.
I like it.
You had to top me there, but we didn't go to the same high school.
No, we were the opposite sides of the country.
Close prom outfit still fits. No, I don't know what that. I don't know what it was. So yeah. So it's. I'm not leaving Facebook, or at least I'm not. The Mueller Time page is staying. But yeah, I don't know, man. The private account.
Well, look, Zuckerberg was lying to you when he was trying to say the Russians weren't really screwing with us. He lied to you back in 2016.
Right. You need to do the right thing because your platform was weaponized and used against the American public. The only reason that you even exist, I'm talking about Mark Zuckerberg, because you were born in America and the advantages that led you to create this thing. So if another country is attacking us, you have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because if it gets worse, there won't be no Facebook, or it'll be a Russian Facebook.
Zuckerberg took payments directly in rubles.
Right. They literally took credit card payments, or right, however it went down, for $100,000. That's about how much the money was, at least the ad stuff. For $100,000, Donald Trump got installed in the White House. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah.
$100,000.
Zuckerberg got screwed. He should have charged a hell of a lot more for that.
Yeah.
Well, now he knows what it cost. Now he knows what it's worth. That's the problem.
Yeah.
What's
Really
gonna happen? 2020 is coming.
talk about not a good look. Facebook's employees being embedded with fucking like Brad Parscale and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect, you're like, really? Like you had guys in their office telling them how to do this?
Yeah. Now they did the same for Hillary's campaign.
They offered.
And Hillary didn't take it.
And that's another huge talk about it.
Well, okay. What was the right thing to do? Not take the help or take the help?
The right thing to do is to take the help.
Yeah.
Because the other side, it's a war. In a war, you need to take advantage. I have a couple books that I haven't gotten to about her campaign. You know, I'm not trying to bag on her, keep going on, but there were catastrophic errors made that we know about that played into this. I will say one thing: their response to the hacking when the Democrats found out the DNC was hacked is absolutely incompetent on a level that, I mean, you know this already.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, well, yeah.
Literally, this one FBI agent was like calling them more. I mean, it was crazy. He was like, "Look, I'm trying to help you," and they were like not returning the calls or whatever. It's like, what? Like, who does that? And then they kept it a secret because they were worried about it getting out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were worried about that getting out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. In my day job, how can I get embedded Facebook people to show me how to do ads properly for my day job? Why can't I get that?
It'd be kind of cool to walk around all day just in your daily life with a Facebook employee just next to you, like, you know, wherever, like Zuckerberg.
Ugh. God, that guy, he looks inhuman.
Hey, let's give a big round of applause to one Jim Acosta.
Oh,
who's
yeah,
back.
Absolutely.
I don't have any.
All right, no, we can applaud Jim Acosta.
I don't have any sound effects queued up.
Did you see the new rules today for the White House press corps?
What are they?
Well, no follow-up questions, and if you do give an unsolicited follow-up question, your hard pass is revoked.
Let me say this: I've frequently trashed the White House press corps, and I thought Jim Acosta at times was annoying. But when I was watching him with that whole thing, I realized that there is something good happening there, mm-hmm. because he challenged them. Maybe the question. Here's the point. We don't even remember I don't remember what question he was asking. It's not that.
But it was like he was getting interrupted right away.
But the good thing was we don't have the opportunities he had in these people's faces. If I had that, I would absolutely do that, but I don't. But he does. Mm-hmm. And he made them look bad. He challenged them. That's why it was so important. Yeah. The question wasn't even as important as what he did there.
There was a question about he had a question about the caravan, and then I forget what the follow-up question was. It might have had to do with the Mueller investigation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And whatever it was, they lost their mind.
Yeah. No, Trump interrupted the questions, never answered either one, and just berated him because Trump was trying to have an incident, and he succeeded.
Right.
Yes.
And Acosta handled it like a total pro.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
Now, we haven't had a Sarah Huckabee Sanders or a President Trump press briefing since then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with Huckabee Sanders, with Huckabee Sanders, I don't know what's up with her.
Yeah. No, we've been getting like one a month since the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So check this out. Interpol,
mm-hmm.
obviously we all know the international, police agency. Did you know that the head of Interpol disappeared?
Oh no! When did this happen?
He's a Chinese guy. I think he's been found. He's in jail somewhere, like in China.
Okay. Like
just arrested. Just some like Kafka-esque situation. So now they need a new head because this guy is in jail on it sounds like some fake charges. So they're electing a guy from Russia.
Oh, how convenient.
Russia, who uses Interpol to arrest their critics and to detain their critics.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah. This Bill Browder guy, the Magnitsky Act.
Interpol can arrest people in America, can't they?
If Interpol issues what's called a red notice, mm-hmm. you can be detained anywhere. Yeah. Now, it depends on the country that you're in. But, if you're on that website, they're going to detain you. And yet, countries are aware that Russia abuses the system, but in the time it takes, you're in jail. Mm-hmm. And depending on where you are, something could happen to you. This Bill Browder guy, who is, the Magnitsky Act, he's been detained like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, yeah. Rachel's had him on.
Right,
He's
exactly.
been on the Rachel Maddow show, yeah.
And every time, it's like these countries, like in Spain, they detain him. They're probably apologizing, but they still do it.
Yeah.
So how the hell did a Russian national is the head of this thing now?
Putin's the most powerful oligarch on the planet. He can make that happen.
That story's not really getting a lot of press.
No, this is the first time hearing about it.
Right.
That sounds like something Mother Jones would have. Where did you get that story?
I read it 2 days ago.
Okay.
I don't remember where. And I know.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to find this when we're done.
When I first read it, the guy who was the head, the Chinese guy, had disappeared. Nobody knew where he was. And now it turned up that he's in jail.
In a Chinese jail or in a Russian jail?
He's in a Chinese jail.
Okay.
And they said it's a money thing. It sounds mad sketchy.
Well, yeah.
Because he sounds like a bureaucrat. Like he sounds like a guy who's basically like a bureaucrat.
Well, it sounds like China and Russia had a reason to install a new head of Interpol because Russia and China.
I absolutely believe that could have happened. I'm sure for the right amount of money or whatever. Because Interpol it's serious, but it's also at the same time, it's not like countries don't probably give it the respect that it probably should have.
Could Interpol nab Assange when they try to bring him over here and bring him back to Russia?
Well, if the head of Interpol is Russian, he probably loves Assange.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they have the new Russian head. They can rescue Assange when they're trying to extradite him over here to America.
Yeah, so we found out, speaking of laugh, I asked our legal advisor what he thinks about the...
Oh, yeah. What's his opinion?
Well, I asked him what he thinks about the U.S. attorney who accidentally copy and pasted Julian Assange's name, which is why you and
Unforced error of the week. I love it.
He was like, yeah, he's probably going to be... He's not going to get fired, but he'll probably be working in Alaska. Transfer.
Yeah.
Imagine that guy the next day. Well, look, the good news is you still have a job. The bad news is, how do you feel about Juneau, Alaska? Prosecuting major felonies. So yeah, Julian Assange's time in that fucking embassy eating Cheese Whiz is coming to an end. And I think we're all quite happy about that. See, that when he got in there, the Ecuadorian government also had a very left-wing government. That government, I'm not super knowledgeable, but they've changed. And the new government is about...
they're not as friendly to Julian.
And I also think they're like, enough already. Like, whatever reason that they have him there, it's like the house guest who's...
Yeah, it stayed way too long.
So I don't know. Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about Julian Assange being extradited here?
Well, he needs to come here and go on trial. Absolutely, yes.
Because they make this argument about the First Amendment in journalism. I mean, what do you think about that with regards to what he does?
All right. Well, does the First Amendment protect you from publishing stolen data?
Here's what I think. You're allowed to... It protects a lot of things, and disseminating information is part of it. I'm not a First Amendment expert, but here's what I think. Here's my thing. Julian Assange doesn't create anything. He doesn't disseminate or that's what a journalist does. You synthesize things. Okay. He's just basically a fence.
All right. Well, he had to get it from somewhere.
Right.
But now it's not like this is giving up a source that gave you news legally.
And also, he did what he did during an act of war perpetrated here.
Yeah.
It's like Nazi Germany, there were propaganda artists. If one of them was shoving that propaganda at us, hurting our country, dropping leaflets over America, pro-Hitler, we wouldn't say, oh, you got a First Amendment right. No, we'd fucking arrest them and put them in a military prison.
Yeah, that needs to happen to Assange.
Right.
There might be some serious legal magic that needs to be done to make sure that happens without any First Amendment restrictions.
Yeah, and all they have to do is show a criminal pattern where this is... I'm sure this would be easy to do. Just show that in many instances he's taken Russia's side and that he had the opportunity or had Trump information but never used it. I'm sure you can put that together like some kind of RICO case. I mean, again, not a lawyer here, just trying to think out loud. It's a pattern. Yeah. It's not the New York Times who gets confidential information and then blows your mind with some article. This guy literally just takes... By the way, WikiLeaks has also dumped social security numbers, addresses. Like, they don't... Yeah. They've credit card numbers. They don't give a fuck.
They don't.
because he is WikiLeaks.
He needs to pay.
Yeah. He needs to come back here and face the music. And if it is a First Amendment case, then good. Put him in a trial and let his lawyer do the best defense he can, and maybe we'll all learn something, you know? And if it goes his way, then it goes his way. But stop hiding out in that embassy.
Yeah.
Wow, really something. You got anything?
No, I got everything that was in my notes. So yeah, we covered all my topics.
I always feel like there's one more thing but no, I think we got everything. Yeah. So yeah, man. We got our first sponsor.
Yes.
Not going to say the name yet because we're still working it out. But if anyone else is interested in sponsoring this show, you can contact us at the Mueller Time Podcast at Gmail, Mueller Time Pod on Twitter, or Mueller Time Pod on Facebook as well. Yeah. Anything but a watch company. You can't be a watch company because we have signed an exclusive deal with a watch company.
Yes.
So anybody else?
I saw that clause.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Be kind of rude to be like pitching like multiple watches. So yeah, guys, if you could also like, comment, subscribe, and especially write a review, that would be great because in the algorithm world, more people.
Yeah, no, I was reading through some of the reviews on our iTunes.
Yeah,
I like the bad reviews. They're funny.
Yeah, we've got some.
Well, someone gave us a hard time for shooting the shit and not like having prepared script,
you saw
or for
that?
not doing our own investigative research.
You saw that, right?
Yes.
Let me say something about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, that was held against us. Yeah, it was a positive review, but it was negative or like 1 star. But yeah, the big complaint was we don't do our own investigations.
There's a lot of shows and books and things out there right now about this investigation. Nobody knows what's going on there. One of the things that's great about this show, if I can be so modest, we don't pretend to know. And I don't get on Twitter and say, something's coming. Or what are those people
Come on,
do?
no, you were hashtag Felony Friday last week. But no, I know what you mean.
I did that once. Okay. But I don't act like I know what's coming. I just say, it seems like today something's going to happen. Yes. And that was the only time. But a lot of these shows out there, they do that. They're just guessing. I don't care if you're a former U.S. attorney with 40 years experience. You do not know what's going on inside the Mueller investigation.
No.
So
Thing does not leak.
Right. So, like, I don't pretend to be anything other than a guy who just reads a newspaper. And that review was funny to me because that person was like, this is a good show, but then rated us 2 stars because she's like, it's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So, like, really?
Yeah, but the important thing was she rated it, which helps in the algorithm, even though it was only 2 out of 5 stars. Or was it 4 stars? What did they like? Yeah, you get 5 stars on iTunes.
Yeah. No, look, there's a lot of, my friend calls them Mick resistors, like McDonald's. And they're people who tell you that they think they know what's going on or they have some inside scoop. And that's dangerous. And we don't do that on this show. And a lot of the other shows, I'm not naming anybody, but a lot of other people who do what we do, they act like that. And you don't know anything. I'm just a guy who likes watching the news.
Yeah, well, we do this here every week, and thank you very much for always supporting and keep those reviews coming. Find me on Twitter, at Low Progressive.
Yeah, Low Progressive, and I'm at Eric Levay, EricLevai, and we'll might be catching you tomorrow.
I hope so. Tomorrow, wishful thinking.
Talk to you later.